Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Are you having fun? Oh, yeah, I can see how much fun you are having. I will ask again, are you having fun? Okay, cool. That sounds better. I love this event. This is not the first time that I am involved in it, and it's always exciting. There's a lot of heart put in the organization of this event, so it's amazing to see you all and to see many familiar faces. And I am honored and humbled on being able to be the moderator on this conversation with these rock stars over here. So there are some questions. I have them on my phone. I promise you I'm not texting. And the plan is to ask each one of these questions to one of you. So I will direct the question to one of you. But of course, after that, all of you will have a chance to say whatever you want to complement on those questions. And the idea here is to see what is it that we need to pay attention to take the strategy to effective operations, to understand what can be broken so that we can think of how to fix that. So, Adriana, would love to start with you. Let's think of this at the top. When you face a challenge of defining a cybersecurity strategy, how is it that you think that needs to be done in order to link that to the business purpose and the business strategy?
Very good question.
Thank you.
And so many times I find that I go to a client and we ask, what's your strategy? And they give me the 150 pages that link to nothing. And I said, well, can I see your business strategy now? And they said, oh, we don't have one. So I think that's the biggest question, making sure that when you build your strategy, it actually supports the business outcomes. And that is a strategy that you can implement. 150 pages, I don't know how many people can implement 150 pages. And understand what is important to the business. Yeah. What do you need to enable the business to do? What are the crown jewels that you are trying to protect? And then what are the paths that somebody can get to those crown jewels? And then what are the layers that you need to put in your strategy? And that doesn't mean it's technology, and we talked about AI for the last 2 days. The technology is not going to do it all. Then what are you going to think about that strategy from technology, but processes that will enable it, people that you need to train, and change management? How are you going to adapt this strategy? It has to be agile enough that you can adapt it to the environment and changing environment. And, you know, we talked about AI. How fast is that moving? How are we adapting our strategy? And are we able to adapt our strategy to still support the business?
Exactly. Thank you. I'm sorry, to our production team, there seems to be some noise somewhere. Thank you. Thank you for that. So while our team exactly fixes that, I think that it is very important to understand that intention of linking the cybersecurity strategy to the business strategy. As Adriana was saying, I have seen that as well with clients that have something that is somehow painting direction to the cybersecurity team, but it's not necessarily linked to what the business is pursuing. So thank you so much for that response. Anyone else? Any additional comment on how to link, please?
Yeah.
Cyber with the business.
Tracy Dallaire, I'm from McMaster University, and so when I joined MAC, we, in higher education across Canada, was under a lot of cyber attacks, and we had to develop strategy and roadmap, and what I talk about is it's important to understand what the threat actors are doing and build your strategy based on that. And they're constantly changing their TTPs and their approaches. It's understanding that and be strategy light and get your defense in depth, all the things that you need in place as quickly as possible, and understand how to do that within your context. Higher ed's like a small city, which is very different than securing a manufacturing facility or a bank or a hospital. So I think it's right-sizing it for your organization is really critical.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Yeah, the other thing, sort of following on, is that you don't want to get caught up in like the art of the possible or the trying to be perfect. A lot of times when you're creating policy and strategy, people will say, well, we should be doing this. I mean, I worked at a company and I asked the CTO, what do we want to do for our SDLC? Because this is part of what we're building out. What will engineering adhere to? What will the SDLC be? It's like, well, OWASP. We'll just follow everything in OWASP, or follow everything from the Microsoft SDL. And I was like, no, you can't just think that you want to do that. You actually have to have a plan so that every day this is going to be implemented. And I think a lot of people sort of lose this difference. That's why the last mile breaks, is that we so want to be this perfect ideal thing. But the reality is, what can you do for your company? And the other big thing is not, or what can that team reasonably do? That's so much better than trying to hit something that you can't, especially when you get that disconnect, which can create material problems with compliance. The other thing that's really critical is to make sure if it's going to be last mile has to align with the business. If security has this vision of we should be doing this, that, and the other thing, and the business is like, hey, that's not on our roadmap, that's not important, that's not how we're profiting this quarter, you're going to get, again, that disconnect. So what's the business trying to do to make money, and then make sure that the security that you have is wrapping along with that, because that's the best way to make sure it actually it happens at that last mile.
Thank you, Diana. Anything else?
Yeah, I just to confirm on that, because cybersecurity is still considered as a cost center. So if can you hear me? Knock, knock.
We lost you for a second, but
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think we are good. So cybersecurity is still considered as a cost center. So if it is not aligning with the business goals, you cannot show that your strategy is providing value, whether be it reducing the risk or improving efficiencies or whatever. The cybersecurity strategy has to align with all of that together, incorporating compliance needs, incorporating everything. So it's important to have that alignment, because otherwise stakeholders will not see the value, and then they will not support your programs, and then they'll be like, nope, you're not getting this done, or you're not getting the dollars, or and then everything breaks.
Exactly. Thank you, Kanupriya. And yes, I teach cybersecurity as well, and something I say to my students is you need to understand the definition of success the business has so that you can define the cybersecurity strategy following that definition of success. And Diana, we were just talking about your experience and the different companies you have helped as a CISO and the roles you have had. Let's say that you have already prepared a strategy that it is properly aligned to support the business, but then the next question is, how can you be sure that it's not only nice words in a document and that it translates into real operations?
Yeah. So we were just hitting on, one thing is to make sure, does the business really want this? So there are a lot of CISOs, and I've heard some, like security professionals just be like, compliance is terrible, compliance is the worst. But I actually don't believe that. Compliance is something very often that your CEO really cares about, because if you don't have a SOC, you don't have ISO, you probably can't sell your product or your business to customers. So compliance can actually be something really helpful to you. If that matters to the company, when the company is saying, well, we don't want to do additional training, or we don't want to spend for an additional tool that we need for visibility, or we don't want to spend the time rewriting policies, the nice thing is that if you can say, well, that's actually going to be an issue with compliance, then now you've aligned with the business. You've aligned some security process with the business. So always look for what's the business doing. Another thing I've seen that's been really helpful to get that last mile is with identity and access, for example. When you're refurbing your identity and access management program, you have a lot of support normally from the business, because things like SSO become realities, and everybody likes just logging in once. So keep looking at how you can make sure that you're aligned. The other thing I think that can be a really big problem goes to specifically the security awareness training. A lot of times people just haven't been trained on how to do the right thing for security, whether it's your developers understanding what the risks are with vibe coding, and then how to test their own code better with AI, or if it's just your users not recognizing, especially sticking with the AI, some of these really well localized, well crafted deep fakes and additional spear phishing and laser phishing that's being done now. Make sure your team, the biggest last mile, it's us. It's all of us. It's what we do every day. So the more that we can help and support our employees to understand how to be good security citizens, the better able they're going to be able to keep that last mile going strong.
So awareness plays a significant role on this, and of course it goes to people. Anyone else? Any idea on how to make all this a reality?
I think I agree with all of what Diana said. From ideation to implementation, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. So money, resources, the idea, of course. But if you have the money, you don't have resources, or if you have the money and you don't have the skill set, or you don't have buy-in from the people, your stakeholders, it will fail. So it has to be a combination and a right balance of everything to make it a successful project. And there has to be ownership. Everyone should feel that, yes, they are a part of it. Yes, they will benefit from it. Yes, there is value add for the entire organization. And then it will succeed. And of course, the stakeholders and the senior leadership has to give you the funds so that you can actually put in and prioritize those efforts. So, yeah.
So people, funds, Canupriya, thank you for that, Adriana.
And I'll add something else, because I've seen too many times when organizations start on the path, and then they take 1 year, and the second year, and the third year, and it's still not implemented. And it might not even be the right one anymore. So I think being able to measure the success, define what success means, and measure the success, and be able to show the business successes in succession. So I think that gets you the buy-in as well from the business to support you in implementing that strategy. So I always say what gets measured gets done. So if you don't measure it, it's difficult to show the value that you have.
So people, funds, measurement, monitoring, anything else to add, Tracy? Thank you, Adriana.
I would add, so we come from a world where we don't talk about compliance. We don't talk about policy. We talk about what's going to get in the way of the researchers doing their science, students attending class, doing that exam, an alumni engaging with the community. And what we talk about is defense in depth and looking at the last mile. What are those few things that you can do? And it could be people, process, technology, to close up that last mile in the absence of, we don't have a regulatory regime like a bank would or other companies. And ultimately bringing their lens to what are the tactics you're going to do in your organization to close that last mile.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Canupriya, based on your experience, what do you think are the most common challenges that make the cybersecurity strategy just break at the execution point? Excuse me.
That's an excellent question.
Thank you.
So for any project, I think people, processes, and technology is something which is very important, and they work as pieces of the puzzle. So breaking points can be anywhere. If you have the processes, but you don't have people. If you have technology, but don't have the processes in place. So it depends on, point being that you have to take care of all of those things. And from a challenge perspective, I think currently in this market right now, there are so many, like for example, AI and everything, it's a new technology, but it's increasing so fast. There's so much of momentum. Keeping up with all of that momentum and making sure that all of these emerging threats and risks and technologies are incorporated into your strategy, into your projects, into upskilling people, all of these are challenges right now. And I'm not saying there's an easy way of handling all the challenges, but these are some of them that we're on top of my mind at least.
Thank you for that. Any other challenge you have seen, Tracy, please?
Yeah, we talk about cybersecurity as a team sport, it really is.
Yeah.
We rely on everybody to do something, whether it's our sysadmins, you need them to patch and update vulnerabilities and respond. You want users to make sure they multi-factor authenticate and that they don't give away their credentials to a threat actor thinking that they're us and they're not. So you think from a behavioral dynamics of you're trying to incent people to do things and not do things. And that's often where things will break down because people just need to do the thing that they need to do and they're in a panic to do that, and then thinking through, what could you actually be letting a threat actor in? And lots of people fall for it. And And so that's, I think our challenge as professionals is we can have all the best tools in place, but that's still not going to stop that person from clicking on the thing that they ought not to click on, or putting that patch in place that they need to, and that becomes your next point of entry.
Okay, perfect. So people again, and team, as you were saying, collaboration. Please, Diana.
Yeah, so specifically the behavioral dynamics, I mean, this is a really critical point, and there are some ways to just kind of lean into how humans are humans, because we do human things. So a lot of people will go out and they fish. I've talked to some CISOs and they're like, I have the best fish for my people. Everyone's going to fail and it's going to be awesome. And I'm like, they're not going to, are they going to learn from that, or are they going to feel ashamed that they clicked the wrong thing? At my last company, I had something called the Fish Bowl. And I'm going to shout out to Dave Sherry, who gave me the idea. He was the former CISO at Princeton. We had this Fish Bowl, and it was a Slack channel. And when someone got fished, or vished or whatever, because a lot of it's coming through SMS now, it's coming through text and things, they would put that into the fishbowl, and we'd all kind of mock it, like at one point somebody came in with our CEO's name, they got it wrong, his name was Ian, and they put in his name as Lan, so our designer put a little mustache on his photo, and then we would all laugh every time about Lan, so people were ready, and then once a month there was a drawing, and anybody who'd submitted into the fishbowl got into the drawing, and there was a $50 gift certificate. Right, so people were always on the alert for being fished, not because they were afraid someone was going to say, you're bad, you clicked, but because they wanted to start cracking wise in the Slack channel about how funny the fish was with the rest of the team. So that's an example of behavioral dynamics. Another thing with that and leaning into it is give people a way to do the right thing. So we think about AI right now. We were talking about AI, and people want to adopt AI. They're being pressured by execs to adopt AI. So think about something like if they're going to download a model from an open source place like Hugging Face, right? Some of those models are known to be bad. They have virus neural backdoors, things that we don't want. So don't make it hard for people. How do I get a model? How can I find an open weight model to train? You could have your own repository at the company. So instead of people going, where do I go to get this? How do I do it? You give them a path to do the right thing. If you give them a clear path and it enables them to adopt the kinds of tooling that they want, they will take it. So again, just really underscore that behavioral dynamics. And there are a lot of things we can do as security professionals to help people really lean in.
Thank you, Diana.
And I will add one other facet to all this is don't operate in silos. So, it's a team sport.
Sure.
So just going as a security team and doing your thing without involving the business, without involving risk, compliance, legal in the process, probably you are building something that you think is really great, but might not the rest of the organization.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that the challenge is on not properly knowing the culture of the organization and not being effective on communicating how things need to be done. Now that you were talking about that experience and making this entertaining and fun, there's one of my clients that I was executing an assessment, and I remember asking her, a very formal lady, very serious all the time, and I asked her what they were doing in terms of awareness, and she said, oh, we are doing well. Let me show you. And then she opened a couple of pictures of some things they were doing, and then I saw her dressed as a fish, delivering a presentation about fishing. And I said, is that you? And she said, yeah, that's me. And it's been insanely effective. And I said, I can see why. So yes, understanding the culture is relevant. And Tracy, I want to come to you. Now, you were talking about compliance, and I am convinced that compliance is a natural engine of the development of internal control, and that includes cybersecurity. But beyond compliance, what else you think can be used to have effective tactics for cybersecurity? What else can be motivating people? We talked about culture, compliance as well. Is there anything else?
Yeah, it's, never let an incident go to waste. So we do a lot of storytelling, and whenever we have had cyber attacks or one of our peer institutions or broader public sector, we're in the broader public sector world in Ontario and across Canada, is talking about that and telling the story of how the threat actor did what they did without disclosing things you can't disclose, and that, because that's what sticks. And it's getting back to, you're trying to get people to do things and not do things, and you want the story or the message to stick. And like you talked about with phishing testing, we don't do phishing testing, it just annoys people. I'd say piss people off, but it does. So what are the things that you can do that are going to stick? And if you talk about how threat actors use the MITRE ATT&CK framework or kill chain, understand those and tell the stories. Every time we have some kind of an incident or an event, and hopefully they stay in low SEV ratings, not a whole broad audience, but we tell the story at least of our IT professionals. We have over 300 IT professionals across our institution that don't all report into central IT. We regularly and vigorously talk to them. We talk to our researchers, our faculty, and others to tell the stories. So that's the thing that's going to stick, to say, that's how they did what they did. Because we all know threat actors do multiple things at the same time. And often it is compromising an identity as point of entry while they're at the same time taking advantage if you don't have local admin lockdown on your devices. And so helping people understand how they're doing what they're doing and what can you do as an individual and have that stick in their mind, because it's just that one split second of decision making that you need that person to have their, what I say, their spidey sense go up and say, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that thing, or I'm going to call somebody because something weird's going on my machine.
Thank you. Thank you. Please.
I think building internal partnerships is also very important, because that's one of the strategies which I felt really worked, because if multiple teams are proposing the same change or a same process level change or a same idea, it definitely gets a lot of attention and it definitely gets a lot of buy-in from everyone else. For example, cybersecurity is not just restricted to the security team, right? You might have procurement getting involved, you might have legal interactions with the legal team, a lot of like HR, a lot of IT ops side of places. So the more partnerships we can build with these groups, with the teaching, I mean, for the education sector, with the teachers, with the researchers, with student unions, for example, it definitely helps us give it, I mean, implement what we want to implement. And I think that's really important. That is one of the key strategies. Where compliance stick doesn't work, it's between the stick and the carrot. So,
Okay.
you know, sometimes it's a carrot, sometimes it's this compliance stick.
So teamwork again, collaboration, and then learning from the experiences we have. Anything else, Adriana, Diana, that you want to share? We're good on that?
Well, I
Please.
think you don't go at it alone, and I think you touched on it. Industry groups learn from others that have done this before and they were successful. Don't just try to redo the frameworks and the strategies, because maybe somebody had this experience before you. So learn from others.
Yeah. Sounds
Yes,
good.
one other tip about that partnering, because that's so important. One other tip is to have regular conversations with your peers and other groups.
Yeah.
Like sit down. I find a lot of people don't like to talk to lawyers. I think talking to the legal counsel is really, first of all, your partner's in privacy because
Yeah.
they've got the
Yeah.
DPIAs and all that. But find out what they're working on. What's HR's new initiatives? What's going on? Stay very close to the VP of engineering and what's happening in engineering, because that's how you've got the relationship with them, so you're all working together. You're friends, so you're all going in the same direction. But B, you start to hear about initiatives and things they may be about to adopt or areas they're moving in, and you can have that conversation with them early about maybe things that you could help them with. Or a lot of times, what's happening in a lot of companies is that there's a lot of overlap of adopting different tooling, and so you can see, and that just creates complexity within the organization. So you can see some of those things too, and head them off at the pass.
Thank you. And I could even add, organizations are now inserted in ecosystems that are very complex, and they are working with multiple actors. And there are some other players that are just competing with them. And I think it makes no harm to see how many and which of those external entities you can interact with as well, in order to understand the challenges they are facing, how they are resolving, etc. In the case of third parties that are working with your company, it is fundamental to understand how both are going to be protecting the entire ecosystem. So thank you. Unavoidable question, AI. The topic was all around the air yesterday, and I think it's been the same today as well. So I will just drop this question to the group, and any of you can start with the first comment on this response. In the times of AI, and as companies are adopting perhaps Gen AI, perhaps agentic AI, how do you see that impacting the last mile for cybersecurity operations? Tracy, please.
Yeah, what we talk about is, and I hear this from industry, this isn't just Tracy, this is the speed, the velocity, and the impact and the sophistication of attacks is taking advantage of the good AI tools and generative AI. Threat actors are using them. So we've got to be able to respond. Time to response is really critical to up our game in that, because threat actors have upped their game in that. That said, what I talk about is get the fundamentals. Lean into the fundamentals, your security training, your patching, your vulnerability scanning and management, making sure you got good extended detection and response tools on your endpoints, your firewalls are tuned up, you're getting firewall data in. It's all the fundamentals. We were talking over lunch about data governance and data loss prevention. So lean on the fundamentals before you might want to go look at something more sophisticated, because I think we still have a lot of room to mature in the basic fundamentals of cybersecurity. So whether it's AI or others, get the fundamentals locked down.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Diana, please.
Do you want to go first? Okay. Yeah, I think number one, you need to educate your users on how to use AI, and also on that AI is not perfect. A lot of people, and I know we've heard this a lot at this conference, but I'm going to repeat it again. AI is not perfect. It's not intelligent the way that human beings are intelligent. It doesn't know what's right and wrong. A lot of users don't understand that, so they're taking what comes out of the AI and thinking that it's ideal. A lot of agentic adopters believe that because AI is driving the agent, it will always do the right thing. It will not. So educate your people first and foremost on what AI is and how the company is adopting it. Then you also really need to, back to the baseline, most organizations do not have any way to get full visibility into all of the AI that's in use and all the agents that are in use in their organizations. You need to, we all know this, we can't manage what we can't see. We need to get that baseline of observability and then apply the same kinds of rigorous security posture management, inventory management, blast radius control, identity control, and access control over these systems. We need to apply this up and over what we're doing with AI, and a lot of companies have just not matured. I feel like it's a little bit of a bullet train. The adoption has gone really, really fast, but our ability to govern and manage it has not, so we really do, in addition to the basics that we need to update in terms of how we're managing our own hygiene, because the attackers are using AI to figure us out, we also really have to lean in with our users to train them on use of AI, adoption of AI, and very much we need to get the governance of AI running.
Thank you. And shadow AI is definitely ahead.
Yeah.
You're right. Kanupriya, you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to add, AI fundamentally is just another technology. Mm-hmm. So putting my GRC hat on, it's like, it cannot be ignored in whatever we are doing right now, but it has to be treated as a new emerging technology risk. So we need to consider AI risks. Most of the risks, AI just maybe is either enhancing the existing technology risks or might be creating a few more risks, and everything needs to be taken into consideration. Do the risk assessment, see where AI can be used, cannot be used, how much you can leverage it, where you need to restrict it, and based on a risk-based decision, you take a call of how you're using AI and not using AI and things like that. And us as leaders, I think we are in a good position to give a little bit of direction to the users to say that, yes, okay, you use AI, use it responsibly. In the education sector, we can definitely not stop the use of AI, but it's like, we can definitely say that, okay, go ahead and try these out, but just be a little careful of what data you're putting in and what's the exposure that is coming in from an AI perspective. So
you're right, and I think that we have been talking about responsible AI too much, and I think that, of course, that's something that we need to do, but we need to be very horizontal and very wide in our perspective, and that responsibility in use goes for every single piece of technology and data that we are using, not only AI. Adriana, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I will just add one more thing. So I think AI as a technology just exposed faster the things that we are not doing well. So I was talking to the group at lunchtime. So 2 years ago, I couldn't sell a data governance project. Everybody will say, oh, it's too much, it's too difficult, we need to engage the business, why should we do that? Now, every second day I get a call saying, help us figure out the data governance, because guess what? We deployed AI and some customer database left with it. So I think that's what we have to keep in mind, that now we really need to fix those problems that we haven't fixed in a long time, because otherwise AI is just going to take advantage of all of them.
It comes to basic hygiene, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. So you're absolutely right. We have just 6 minutes left, so I just want to give you a chance to say one final comment before we try to open the time for questions and answers. Something that has been in my head that I think is relevant for newer generations is how to deal with stress and burnout. So for closing, is there any quick advice you can give to our attendants on that specific matter? Who wants to start?
Take your vacations. Don't take your computer with you when you take your vacation.
It's time off.
It's time off.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I can add. So I think it's, don't feel afraid to reach out and ask for help, because if you are facing something, there are definitely other people facing similar situations and might be in similar problems. So feel free to reach out. There are a lot of helping agencies around in the in the industry, which for mentoring, for coaching, for just collaborating together. So I don't know if you want to talk about the ICC a bit, but yeah, go ahead.
Sure, if I can. We have a group called Inclusion in Cybersecurity Canada. Events like today are really critical. Talk to your peers, be with each other, and it's important. It's going to happen. Hackers are going to hack. It's going to happen. And we're all together to help each other and support one another. I don't know how many times other groups have been in an attack and I've gotten a call on a Sunday, and it's just, they just need to talk through it. So networks like this today, and thank you for the organizers to bring us together today. Any community that you can be a part of and build those networks and lean on each other. We're there to help each other through it, and take your vacations. Really important. Turn off.
Exactly. You're not alone. We are not alone. That's important. Thank you. Diana, anything else?
And as you think about the networking, it can help to think of it like a board of directors. When you're a company and you build a board of directors, you get people that have different superpowers. Your network should have people, somebody who's always on your side, somebody who calls you out, have that, somebody who can advocate for you for the next job, somebody at your company that can be there for you, all that you can tell the secrets to because you can't say them outside the company, all of that. So think about, as you build your network, think about that board of directors. Who do you need to be supporting you?
Thank you. We have time perhaps for 2 questions, maybe 1. Is there anyone interested in asking something to these rock stars? I see a hand over there. Do we have a mic? Please. Thank you.
Hi. So I am in security awareness role, and as you just mentioned, one creative way for awareness was kind of dressed in a fish dress and kind of telling everybody about phishing. Are there any other creative ways that you have seen in your career or you have used for security awareness?
If I can, there's a lot of great free resources available from the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, Get Cyber Safe. Look that up, and the Ontario government as well. And you can you've got to set up your authentication. Lots of great resources. CTF's Capture the Flags, really great as well. And getting lots of people involved in those, because it'll anchor some of those learnings and behaviors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if I could add to
Please.
that, security awareness and training doesn't always have to be the serious types and punishable kind of a thing. It can always be fun. So find innovative ideas to make awareness, training, all of these exercises, any learning possible, make it fun, and that you will see the difference in the efficiencies in the results.
I had a client that made an awareness campaign long ago using the Soccer World Cup. as an excuse. The Soccer World Cup is just around the corner, and he made a ludic experience for users just to connect cybersecurity to soccer. So there's always something that you can use for that. Anything else, anyone?
The gamification, a lot of
Yep.
the SAT, security awareness training companies have started to move into this gamification. People love to compete with each other. So just if it's, it's about like who has more stars because they figured something out or they were able to, solve a CTF. Gamify it as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you.
And I will add also, make it personal to people. Don't talk about the business. Talk about how security impacts their own lives.
That's right. When you're able to understand that from a personal perspective, it's easier to understand the corporate side.
Yeah, yeah.
We have time for one more question if there's any. One question one. One question two. One question three. There's no more questions. So to our attendants, thank you so much for coming today. My advice is look for these rock stars on LinkedIn and connect with them. There's more than you can get from those connections. And they are brilliant women that have developed successful careers in cybersecurity. So stay close to them. To CyberX, thank you so much for giving us the chance of being here today. Thank you for thinking of me to be here with these ladies. For me, it's an honor and a pleasure. And we have just 1 minute left. Is there anything else anyone wants to add? Are we done? We are done. Thank you so much again. Have fun. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Good job.